that they are not actually giving diesel its market worth because diesel is a vote catcher. Now that they have surrendered the votes and allowed the diesel prices to go up, you are saying that diesel prices going up is an attack on us. So, just on the eve of Congress Chintan Shivir, Congress government has taken risk of increasing the prices of diesel. And so far the argument was diesel is always mixed with kerosene, and more often it is not used for the poor man, not for the Aam Aadmi, but actually used for corruption and adulteration.
Well, your diesel is mixed with kerosene is still not sorted out by this increase. By the way, it makes it even worse.
No, when the price of diesel goes up,
it makes the incentive
uneconomical.
Makes the incentive even more to mix with kerosene.
No, but Mr. Kumar Ketkar, you are defending the government. You're not from the Congress.
I'm not defending the government. I'm defending the
but by the way, they have politicized this price.
I'm entirely 100% with Dr. Meghnad Desai when he said that yes, it needs to be burdened more, even if it is at present.
So one minute. Why should I?
Because just
so one minute. So 1 minute. You know, in a pre-election year, suddenly the Congress party wants to put subsidy. 1 minute. Subsidy after subsidy. You know, the total financial liability, according to KV Thomas, the food minister, of the food subsidy bill to implement it will be 3.5 lakh crore, because funds will be required to raise agriculture production, create storage space and publicity, among others. Now, my point is, just because the Congress party has gone whimsical, that before an election, let us quickly put the food subsidy bill.
I don't think these things happen on whims.
So let's be very direct about it.
Let me be direct about it.
So let me be direct about it.
If Congress is looking at
let me be direct about it.
If Congress was looking at election, they would not have increased the prices.
Sir, look at me in the eye and tell me that the food subsidy bill is not
because I don't represent Congress.
Fine.
I can look into anybody's eyes.
Fine. Tell me
if Congress was looking at elections, they would not have increased the prices. And if they were not giving up subsidy, you would have said, look at Congress.
Sir,
they are not doing
this. The problem is last 9 years
they want votes.
Mr. Ketkar, for 9 years they have politicized pricing. We were in power also. We never played politics with diesel prices.
My question.
How can you ignore the past? How can you ignore the 9 years of mismanagement?
My question is today. The Aam Aadmi, which I hope includes the urban middle class, because I am getting increasingly concerned that the urban middle class is not considered an...
Look at the incomes of urban middle class in last 20 years.
So 1 minute, can I say...
Last 20 years, urban middle class...
Your income has gone up too much.
No, government employees, fifth pay commission, sixth pay commission. Look at the incomes of the middle class.
How many people get that, Mr. Ketkar? That's a few million people. That's a few million people who get fifth pay commission.
Sir, flats which they bought at 10 lakh rupees in 1991 are being sold for 2 crore rupees.
How many people?
Poor man in Aam Aadmi does not have 2 rooms.
But how many people? There are a few million in a country of a billion.
Are going to be priced.
No.
Sir, can I tell you one thing? Can I tell you one thing?
No.
One second.
Hello. Yeah, you see, people don't realize that 80% of our farmers are dependent on electricity which never is given to them. They're dependent on diesel.
That's right.
Where are those farmers going to get a kind of a reasonable price? And Arnab, you talked about leakage of food grains. I am talking about rotting of food grains. Million tons of food grains are rotting in our country, which is being highly subsidized by the government, which doesn't reach the Aam Aadmi. So what are you talking about? Let's try to understand, let's not politicize this. You see, I fully agree with you that none of the political parties wants to touch this issue
of subsidies,
because they are all waiting to just woo the citizens and take them to the wrong direction.
I'm saying today that this is the parallel I'm drawing. And listen to what I'm saying. Tell me if I'm wrong right now. According to my, little bit of mathematics I've done, I find that 3 rupees per litre increase in diesel price, the amount of money you will get is roughly equal to the money lost due to corruption in the public distribution system. 59,621 crore rupees is the subsidy paid by the Finance Ministry on food. Half of it goes to the wrong persons. In other words, 29,000 crores is lost because of losses in the public distribution system. The government knows these losses will happen, but says, let the losses happen. It's the price we pay for something that is politically, interesting for us. it's a worthwhile loss to... No. I don't know which politician has the courage to say today...
I'm telling you a solution to that.
No, I want to check. The middle class is saying, I'll pay 3 rupees more for diesel. I'll pay 3 rupees more for diesel, ensure that the money I pay does not end up subsidizing these losses due to the food bill.
It's high time the government of the day maybe builds up a consensus that we shall create assets, we shall create infrastructure and give jobs to the people rather than distributing doles. High time the country started looking at that.
Gentlemen, the debate is completely opening up in 2 minutes. I first want to get Naresh Gujral, who hasn't spoken. Otherwise, he will say that a BJP ally gets 1/10 the time as the BJP itself. Perhaps that is the complaint within NDA meetings as well.
He's my friend also, so you can give him as much time.
That's all. Naresh Gujral, do you think at the end of the day, all political parties have decided to simply burden the urban middle class? Including your own party?
Before I answer that question, I'd just like to point out one thing which has been missed by others. That traditionally, diesel was subsidized to benefit the farm sector and the transportation sector. Now, the consumption from these two sectors has not really gone up exponentially.
Yes.
The diesel consumption has gone up because of diesel cars, SUVs, MTVs. 8,05,000 SUVs and diesel cars were sold last year. You are subsidizing the rich person today at the cost of the poor farmer and at the cost of the Aam Aadmi. Why can't you put a tax at source starting from 1 lakh to maybe 10 lakhs depending on the engine capacity and the price of the car? Let that money be garnered. Let the rich man pay.
That is exactly...
Let the rich man pay.
Why are you punishing the farmer?
Yeah, sure. Let the rich man pay. Mohandas
I have one more thing to say here.
Can I make a point?
Mr. Gujral, Mohandas Pai wants to contradict you there. I'll come back to you once he's made...
Let me finish.
Okay, complete.
All I'm saying is, when you subsidize a diesel car or a SUV, you're also ruining the environment. It is neither good for the economy nor for the environment.
Yeah, I take your point. Now, Mohandas Pai.
Anna, please. Anna, we should always work on data. Cars consume maybe 8 to 10% of the diesel consumed in the country right now. The farming sector consumes about 18%. The transportation sector, including the lorries, consume about 35%. The defense, the state road transport organizations, the telecom companies and the army, between them, consume about 30%. So, you're on the 10% of the people don't make any difference, even if it goes up by 1 or 2%.
No, but why can't you tax them?
As far as procurement
why can't you tax them? I'm not saying that they're consuming this much. Tax them for God's sake.
Incidentally, the Prime Minister in his statement...
They pay for large.
They have the support of the CII. They have the support of the FICCI. The poor farmer does not have any support from all these organized groups. That's why he's suffering.
Anna, the farmer has got 100% increase in procurement prices over the last 5 years for everything he sells. The UPA government has increased procurement prices by 100%
Sorry, I will use the word bullshit.
Much ahead of inflation.
Absolute nonsense. Wrong figures.
Look at data. Please look at data.
I'm sorry. I dispute these figures.
Data. Check out the data, my friend.
I have looked at the data.
Check out the data. Why do you not logic?
Annual
check out the procurement price this year. Go back 5 years.
Increase has been 9% since UPA came in.
5 years. I'm talking about the last 5 years. Please check up the prices and see for yourself.
And the way the fertilizer prices
but if in 5 years it's double, so what?
The input prices have shot up.
Fertilizer prices
Today,
have not
farming
increased.
is not a viable proposal anymore.
No, I'd like to correct Mohandas Pai. Even if it has increased in 5 years to double, it's less than the nominal growth of GDP. Point one. Naresh is right. Fertilizer prices have gone up between 250% to 350%. Seed prices have gone up by about 500%. I think it's high time we stopped criticizing some little sops given to the farmers.
Little sops?
They deserve it.
No, little sops. That's where you go.
People who are running this country, giving us food security.
Really?
The farmers are still committing suicide. They are not really in a situation where they are making big tons of money. I think the farmers need to be supported.
I need to
Even in Europe and US, they give subsidy to farmers.
I don't know how your party changes its position every 4 years. 1 minute. I'll tell you, Mohandas Bhai. Let me just catch a factual inaccuracy of my friend Piyush Goyal.
Yes.
He's committed a factual inaccuracy.
Please correct me.
Yes.
You seem to be wanting to be corrected.
I enjoy being corrected.
Yashwant Sinha, no, I am saying that there is no consistency in your argument.
Tell me.
Yashwant Sinha in 2008, after the loan waiver, says, if you want me to sum it up, I can tell you this is a very populist budget, something that has been given ahead of the elections. Basically, he has to try to win the vote of various segments and has left the burden of the budget on the forthcoming government.
So where is the contradiction?
The 1 minute, please. The contradiction is that then, as you also did in 2009 after Lalu's rail budget, you slammed the government for populist budgets and populist decisions. The decisions the government took today are anything but populist. In fact, they are a huge electoral risk, some people will argue, given that the polls are around the corner, and yet you criticize it. So my point of view is, what is your position?
No,
where do you stand? Is your argument of the BJP only to somehow...
No. Please understand.
Meghnad Desai,
today there is double-digit inflation in the economy.
You're changing your argument.
You're adding to that burden of the common man. We criticize it. In 2008, it was a populist move just on the eve of election. Therefore, we had said farmers should be supported, but not in such a manner as to get a benefit only for the
Meghnad Desai, raise his hand. Meghnad Desai to Piyush Goyal.
What are they worried about?
1 minute. He'll tell you what they're worried. Meghnad Desai to Piyush
Goyal. Can I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say? If you run a deficit, the rupee will depreciate. The rupee depreciation increases the losses for the oil companies and then increases the need to raise the diesel price. So what you have to do, you have to eliminate the deficit. That will bring interest rate down from the RBI, and in order to bring deficit down, you have to eliminate as many inefficient subsidies as possible. Now, the Aam Aadmi's burden one way or another. Let us choose to eliminate the regressive subsidies, and that will be better for everybody, Aam Aadmi and the rural farmer and everybody. Let us get that clear in our mind. Sir, and let's not have this politicization of two.
No, but sir, I agree with you. My only point is that always trying to say, like Piyush Goyal said, and others have said, no, little bit of money is being given here on subsidies. I mean, under the 8 years of the UPA, spending on social sector schemes has gone up by 460%. Exactly. 4.6 times.
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, on the one hand, the middle class is in serious trouble. I have figures to prove that the urban middle class is reeling. Your spending on social sector schemes which have no accountability goes up 460%. I mean, which kind of... What logic is that, Kumar Ketkar? Can you still defend it? What logic is that?
Social sector. We should be spending on social sector, and middle class needs to pay for the social sector.
No, middle class needs
to pay because middle class has earned in the last 20 years, and they need to pay for social sector.
So that's a kind of...
Social sector spending is not populist. Social sector spending is actually anti-populist.
Can I rebut, Dr. Meghnad?
Meghnad Desai wants to rebut you.
I'm not a friend of food subsidies.
Yes, Meghnad Desai?
I'm not a friend of food subsidies. I'm not a friend of food subsidies either, and I'm not a friend of Narega. We really have to find out that a lot of this money is being wasted in the name of redistribution, but it's actually a lot of it is wasted, as everybody has said. So why doesn't some political party somewhere commit itself to eliminating this waste and these subsidies and restore the health of the fiscal balance? Now, why do we get all this populist abuse, but nobody commits to saying, okay, if we come to power, we will eliminate all the inefficient subsidies India has?
I want someone to say that.
I challenge the BJP or any party to do.
I ran government for 6 years. In my government, we focused the government spending to creating infrastructure. We focused to encouraging manufacturing in India to get jobs for people. Maybe politically we were unwise and we lost the election. But we still continue to maintain even today that what the nation needs to do is focus on creating jobs, focus on creating infrastructure, move all these social spending schemes into actually asset building. But that's been our consistent stand.
The problem with the BJP, and I don't want to use the word U-turn because is that it's not like you're always wrong, But when you look back at what you say in the past, you're inevitably contradicting yourself.
Never. I told you.
You're tying yourself up in knots.
But Arnav, what Mr. Sinha
what are we
said was
saying?
correct. Because he said that you cannot have a scheme on the eve of elections without providing for it in the budget.
Sir, please don't tell me about your record. In 2002, the BJP-led NDA government freed petrol and diesel prices, resulting in the revision of rates on the 1st and 16th of every month.
Correct.
Am I right or wrong?
Was
there a man called Ram Nayak who was your petroleum minister? Is that right or wrong?
That time the international prices were different.
Arnav, we pride ourselves.
At that time the international prices were different and they were lower. It was easy to handle that time. It is not easy to handle
statistically, I will tell you, we pride ourselves.
Respond. Between $23 and $32.
Yeah, so let me explain.